You're live. How exciting. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dark Discussion Podcast, episode 3 now. This one's pretty different from the last two because I have, no schedule planned of, topics. I didn't do anything like that like I usually do. And I'm going to be doing that, and that's what I did before. I had things written down to talk about, but I didn't want to go in with that. I just wanted to sit down and talk because today is my 5-year YouTube anniversary, which is insane beyond belief that I've been doing this for 5 years and that I haven't quit. I have never stopped, which is, well, I mean, I guess I've stopped. Like in last year, it was sort of more music focused, but the fact that I'm still here today making content after 5 years is very surprising to me. If you told me that 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't believe it. I'd probably say I'm not going to be alive in 2 years. That's probably what I would say. But today, May 26, 2015 is when I started, and it has been 5 years since that day. And I have done a freakish amount since then. Again, if you told my 9-year-old self that I was going to do everything that I've done in the last 5 years, I would think that's stupid because I just started as a gaming channel and that's all I ever intended to be. Boy, that barely lasted 2 years of just gaming. I started doing this Story Told series in 2017, then of course music 2019, and now here I am today. I have my blog site and a podcast, as well as a gaming channel and music. Now, I'm just gonna say in advance, apologize if I if I'm emotional at times, because again, normally I'm not like that, but the reason I'm doing a podcast for today is because there's just so much that goes into my last 5 years of doing videos that I've talked about to an extent, and I've certainly talked about it in my music, but since before the podcast started, it's been a long time that I sit down and just talk about things of this exact topic. It's been a long time. So I'm a little nervous, but it's just, again, I didn't script anything. I didn't write stuff down because I just want to be upfront with a lot of things because we're sitting here today, tens of thousands of views later, hundreds of subscribers later, probably a total of 900 videos later, several albums later, several websites later. I've just done so many things, and I just want to talk about all of it because, again, there's so much that goes into it that I just never wanted to specify because when I first started YouTube, it was and when I first started music as well, it's like music was sort of like the beginning of my YouTube career, but different because it was, once again, the start of this project that I was putting my heart into. But both were very personal to me, and that's why I just never wanted to talk about it because it was I was just, I guess, just insecure would be the right word, but also just there was a lot to be nervous about on my end. So that's why I never really went into detail about it. But I'm sitting here today as an entirely different person, really. Because again, I started when I was 9, and I started music. I started working on music when I was 12, but I was 13 when it was released. And yeah, obviously 12, 13 wasn't that long ago. But again, I've grown a lot in just recent time because just so much has changed for me. And I sort of just want to start from the beginning, which, by the way, I guess before I get into things, if you check the description, there is a link to my album, Innocent Until Proven Guilty, that just came out. It's also on SoundCloud if you want to go search on there now. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for the support you've been giving on that so far. I'm really proud of the project, and if you haven't heard it yet, you can go ahead and listen to it with the link in the description. It's on everywhere. And I also released a video called 5 Years on this channel. Yeah, it's just a video of a bunch of clips from my last 5 years. There's just a lot of stuff put together as a little montage thing. Um, yeah, so those links are in the description. There's also a music video on my main channel, Dark Isaac, for my song, My Remedy, My Medicine. So yeah, those are 3 things to check out if you want to. But I want to talk about the beginning of my career. And again, I don't really like that word because I just feel like it doesn't make a lot of sense. But you call a school career a school career. And in my eyes, that hardly makes sense. So I'm gonna use the word career because that's the best word I have. But yeah, at the beginning, May 26, 2015, I had I had my 3DS and an iPhone 4. And I set up the iPhone 4 in front of the 3DS to film the screen of it as I played Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. That was my very first video. And the reason I never went into detail about prior to my YouTube career or the beginning of it, I can't even say the beginning, the last 4.5 years, really. It's because I like 9 years old, or more 8 years old, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, is when my mental health first started getting serious. Like it was like when I was 8 and 9, it was like the very first time I really went into a dark state of mind. And I was definitely thinking of things and saying some things that you don't want to hear someone of that, or anyone, but someone especially of that age, say. It was a very, honestly, just looking back, it was a scary time, because now I can understand I can partially understand what I was going through. But like when you're that age and you're dealing with this, you don't even know what to do with it or what it is. Like it's there, it's itching at you, but you really can't understand it. Cause like, what do you like if you at that age you hear the word depression, it's the big sad. That's all you got. That's all you know. If you hear anxiety, if you had even heard of that word at that age, you probably just think nervousness, I guess, or worry. And like, I guess that is what you're feeling, but like to a very intense degree. And like, I just literally didn't understand, but I was feeling it. So it was a very scary time. And, I was thinking of some things the fact that I was thinking of it at that age is terrifying. I remember, okay, before I get into this, I just want to say I'm fine. Like, I never ever talk about my mental health as like up for pity points. I don't need pity. I don't need sympathy. That's not why I'm talking about this. I talk about this to, 1, paint a picture and tell a story, and 2, because I know other people feel it. And I just want some of the people that know me to just understand where I was at and help them with where they could be at. Because I've grown a lot over time, and I just want to help people if I can. So that is why I'm talking about this. But anyway, again, at that age is when it was first starting. And I remember many nights I would lay awake, wide awake, and I wouldn't even think. I would talk out loud to myself about suicide. I would literally, I wasn't just thinking of it. I would talk out loud to myself and like have a debate with myself whether or not I should do it. And every school day was insane. And, looking back, I certainly put a lot of teachers in a tough position. I mean, but at the same time, I don't exactly have a lot of sympathy for a lot of my older teachers. I'm not here to bash them, but they certainly weren't the most responsible with their students. But yeah, I would literally spend all day, every day in school crying. Like every day, I was always face first on my desk crying. And Yeah, it just wasn't a good time. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good time. But at that time in my life, there there were two things that always gave me some joy in life, and that was always video games, specifically Nintendo games, and YouTube. At the time, I was watching, some of the bigger gamers on YouTube. I was watching Markiplier and Jacksepticeye. Smosh was not shit back then. I was watching them for sure. Stuff like that, and that's just always something that brought me joy. And my mom, when she got a new phone, she let me use her old iPhone 4. There wasn't service on it, but it had its 480p camera, and I could watch YouTube and play some games on there. And for whatever reason, I don't even know what happened. That I don't even know what made me do it that day, but I wanted to make a video, and I thought I have. It's obviously not going to look good, but I have literally all I need to start a YouTube channel. I had a laptop I could use, a phone I could use to record, and I loved playing games on my 3DS. So I recorded the Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon Part 1 video on May 26th, 2015, when I was 9 years old. I'm pretty sure I filmed it in this room. I highly doubt I was in my room at the time. I was probably down here, and I'm still in this room making videos. But yeah, that was literally where it started. I started doing more gaming videos. My mom also had a little tripod. So what I would literally do is, if I wanted to record a gaming video with my computer, I balanced the iPhone 4 because they were thicker back then. I bounced it on the tripod to film the computer screen while I played a game. That's what I had to do back then, and that's what I did for a long time. That is what I did. I put the iPhone 4 balancing on the tripod to film the computer screen. That's what I had to do. And yeah, I did that. And again, the numbers never got big. I never became famous and rich. Big surprise. But yeah, that's what I was doing, and it brought some joy into my life. Obviously I can't sit here and say my mental health issues were cured by my YouTubing, because that would be a lie. I still had moments, obviously, but honestly, they became less frequent, and I had something to do that gave me joy, and that meant a lot at this time. Again, I was still very young, of course, but mental health issues doesn't really have anything to do with age. It's when it started developing in my head, and it was tough. It was tough as hell. But yeah, I started doing the gaming videos, and every now and then I did some challenge videos, and then I started having my cousin in videos and some friends in videos. And then in February, what was it? No, for Christmas of 2000. When did this happen? No, for Christmas of 2015, my dad got me a new computer, and then he then showed me how to use Adobe Premiere Pro. So in early 2016, I started editing. Again, I'm not a master editor, but having a lot of experience, I can edit things perfectly fine. I don't that often anymore because, again, that's not really where my focal point is right now. But yeah, I started editing videos in 2016, and I just kept doing things. And then I also moved schools in 2015. Yeah, I started in May, and then the following September, I switched schools for the 5th grade. So I met some more people there. That was an interesting time as well, because it helped, but at the same time, it didn't, because basically what it was I wanted a clean slate, because, again, I would spend every day crying and screaming. I wanted a clean slate. I didn't want people to remember that. But I was still young and mentally ill, so I sort of ended up redrawing the same image. But yeah, anyway, I did start meeting new friends, and eventually they started joining in videos. In 2017, I started the Story Told series. How it started was the Stolen series. It was a few videos where basically the storyline was simply I got my phone stolen and I was trying to track the robber down. And that's where the name Stolen Studios came from, because when I was trying to put together a business behind my career, that's the name I went with, because it held a very big staple. I met Yo Budman through that series. Actually, I definitely got much better views on that series than I usually got, and it just gave me this different idea, because I was also doing skits prior to that. Again, when I started having friends in videos, I started doing some skits. But yeah, to actually telling a story through these videos, playing a character, it definitely added some quality to my content. And yeah, but again, I can't say everything here was perfect, because it just wasn't. My mental health is something that's always had a toll on my life, and I mean that very literally. Even times that I didn't know it did, because like I can look back now that because once again I've grown up. I've been able to understand things better, and now that I've like seen doctors and psychiatrists and have been properly diagnosed, I can look back and think, like, I remember the first day of 3rd grade. I wasn't sick at all, but I was feeling like a gut-wrenching pain in my stomach. Like, it was terrible, and I eventually threw up. And I can look back now, because I was fine once I knew I wasn't going to school, and I was fine the next day. But I went out. I didn't go to school on the first day of 3rd grade, because I look back now and I realize it was just the anxiety of going back to be around people, and just, having to work and stuff. And, there's always someone of authority looking over you at your work. And like, to 8-year-old me, just starting to develop anxiety, it was a trigger. But yeah, once again, that's just why it's been hard for me to talk about this for a long time. And why the beginning of my first YouTube channel was so important, because it helped me a lot when I was first starting to really, really sink into a dark place. But yeah, it helped me a lot. And that's also why, like, right now I'm, once again, I don't really care if I like get dislikes on a video, or if I get a comment saying that I made something bad. That doesn't really affect me anymore, but it used to get to me. It used to really get to me, because once again, YouTube is what really helped me with something that I was young and struggling, and YouTube was really helping me. So if I ever had like a video that did really bad, if I ever just got one comment that was something negative, it itched at me, because this meant a lot to me. It still does, of course, but like, I guess you could say at the time it was my saving grace of life. It was like I'm obviously, I can't bash my family, like my mother and father, my cousin William, my grandmother. They mean the fucking world to me. But I was in this really dark state of mind where I couldn't see the bright side of things ever. And everything was negative in my head. And when I had this, it just meant so much that when anybody would bash it, it hurt really bad. And I would get this mix of pure fucking anger and deep sadness when I would hear that. But yeah, I had my first channel, which, by the way, it's called Kirby the Amazing, because it was originally my full name. And since I was so young, my mom was like, maybe don't have your full name as it. And this is the funny thing. I'm not a big fan of the Kirby games. I like Return to Dreamland on the Wii and Kirby 64. Kirby 64 is a bomb game. But I don't even really play those games. I just like the character a lot. I just really like the Kirby character. So when my mom said, "What are we going to name your character?" I said, as if I was a fucking magician on drugs, "Kirby the Amazing." I came up with it in 1 second, and it ended up being my name for like 4 years. But yes, that is the name I had for a long time. But yeah, I did gaming videos a lot. And then when did it fall apart? I mean, it fell apart so many times. Well, something that happened definitely was mid 2017 when I finished one of my story told series. Don't even remember the name, but I was playing this character. It lasted, I think, 20 episodes. I think it was my longest. And when that ended, I didn't have an idea for the next one. So I was just back to doing my regular videos, and I had been doing it for a long time. So it wasn't necessarily fulfilling at that point. It wasn't giving me as much joy as it once did. So I ended up going on quite the hiatus. I ended up doing another story told series, or I started it. I didn't finish it. I started it in early 2018. But yeah, simply just, I literally just stopped getting as much of the great feeling I got from YouTube. And I got literally just lost in this hiatus of, what is wrong with me? That's literally what it was. Like, I can't even explain it because I kept doing videos, but like very not frequently. And I was just literally like, why am I not happy with what I'm doing? Why can't I fix it? Because I kept trying to fix it and I never could. So that's why I had what I call my YouTube hiatus in 2018, because I did some gaming videos and I didn't like it. And then I took a break, and then I made a video saying, "Hey, I'm back." And then I took a break, and then I said, "Hey, I'm back." And I took a break, and I said, "Hey, I'm back." I was literally just that YouTuber that's just constantly stuck in this cycle of doing update videos. And I didn't know what to do. So eventually I quit. I guess it was early to mid 2018, I left that channel for good. Not fully sure what I was going to move on to. I wanted to keep doing YouTube and I wanted to keep doing something creative, but I left that channel for good. And yeah, I ended up sort of just taking a break. I actually started what became the Dark Isaac channel, and I just called it Isaac because it was around that time, or a little earlier than that started becoming a nickname for me. And I remember a few videos I did. I did a video about the open season video game, sort of like a JonTron style, if you've seen his videos. I did a conspiracy theory video. I think I did a skit. I did do a skit. I did a skit where I was pretending to be like a news anchor and I made up some fake stories. All things that I was pretty happy with, but at the same time, I was still just lost in my YouTube hiatus. I didn't know what to do with myself. And it sounds stupid because it's a kid on YouTube. But you have to understand that it was sort of, I guess you could say it's pretty much what saved my life. And then I felt like I was losing it. And that's why it was a very scary thing that I didn't know what I was doing. And I guess I have to say that, like, my mental health was always an issue, but it started pressing on me more and more every day. 2018 wasn't the worst year of my life. I don't know what was, because I had a lot of bad ones, but 2018 was very, very tough. Maybe it was the worst year of my life. I don't know. It was very, very tough. And I didn't have an outlet this time. That's what the thing was. Like 2016 and 17 were still like, I still had a lot of bad moments in 2016, 17. But now in 2018, I didn't know what to do on YouTube. And I had no outlet to all this pain that I felt. And yeah, and in 2018, I took a long break from YouTube. I officially left the Kirby the Amazing channel. I officially left it. I said who I was being on Kirby the Amazing was not really me. I wasn't being authentic with myself. I was just making videos as who I was when I started, and I couldn't break that. I couldn't break it. I could have erased the channel and started over, and I still would have had the 200 subs. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted the clean slate on YouTube. So that's why I made the Isaac channel that I ended up not knowing what to do with either. So that's when I left YouTube for a long time. And during that long time, that's when I first ever started writing music. The 5 original songs, nope, 4 original songs on Devil on Your Shoulder. That's what that was. It's when I first started writing rap music, and it's just when it's when my mental issues were peaking, and I would just write out my feelings to try and get it away, try to get it out. And then in November, December-ish, I started feeling a little better. There's a lot of specifics into that I can't really go into, but I kind of started feeling better. And that's when I started producing the Devil on Your Shoulder EP. And I had never in my life made an instrumental. I had never in my life put together a rap song, unless you want to include a little Christmassy video that I put together in like 2016. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. But when I finished it and I made it, I had the fulfillment that I had at the beginning of my first channel. It came back after the last year of not knowing what to do with my life. It came back after I released that EP, and I kept working on music. And that's why so much came out last year. So many things came out last year because I finally felt the fulfillment again, and I just kept working on it to try and, I guess you could say, feel better. And it didn't work, but I had some way to get out my emotions. And again, that's why I never really talked about the beginning of my music career in full detail either, because it was the same as my original YouTube career. I was just in a very depressive state of mind, very much struggling, and I just needed something. And yeah, I was always, I guess, too insecure to talk about it, but I'm in a place now where I'm not, because it was simply a part of my life, and it was very difficult, but I'm not the only person that has had to deal with such a thing. And the more open I am about it, the more other people will feel less restricted and able to get help that they need, because that's it. It took a lot out of me, a lot, to do what I needed to do to get better. But yeah, I was working on music all of 2019, and that helped me a lot. And when I got that motivation, I started doing some YouTube, but not a lot. And yeah, I also, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast or ever, but I do take prescriptions. I am on 2 different meds, and I first started them in May of 2019, April 2019, and didn't really work out back then. And there was some things we had to change over the next many months, and then in September-ish, I had the proper prescription I needed. Take those every day. I have been for a long time, and those have helped me a lot. I was in therapy for a long time. And there's definitely a lot of people that don't believe in therapy. And I can't say I wasn't one of those people, because I was in therapy when I was 8 and 9, right at the beginning. And then again, I got worse again. So that's why I had the mindset of, if it didn't help me before, why the fuck would it help this time? And I didn't want to go to therapy, but I finally did. And, there's definitely therapists that are better than others, and there's definitely different treatment for different people, but therapy works. It does. I truly believe there is no person alive that therapy wouldn't help them. Like, I just don't believe that kind of person exists. Maybe they need a certain therapist. Maybe they need a certain kind of environment. I don't know, but therapy works. It's just the problem. The only problem with it is how much you need to apply yourself. And I know how hard that can be when your mind is really messing with you. But therapy does work and it does help. I was in therapy for a long time. I'm not anymore. I haven't been for a little bit. But yeah, I went to therapy. I got on my meds. I kept making music, and I still am. And then I also started making videos again on a channel that's called My Name is Isaac. When did I start that? Like 3 months ago now, ish, I think. So it was like February or March. I started doing gaming videos again, and I gotta tell you, the happiness that I got many years ago from my gaming channel is back. It is. I'm making all sorts of gaming videos on there because, obviously, like, a lot goes into an album, and this channel is sort of dedicated to my podcast. And the Dark Isaac TV channel, leaving that to rot. It's not even in my featured channels. We're just going to leave that one to rot. There's a few videos on there. We're going to leave it to rot. But I started the My Name is Isaac channel just to basically do whatever I want. Because with the Dark Isaac channel, I started taking it very seriously. And it was like, this is my music channel. Only things that are like proper need to be put on here. But at the same time, the just wanting to make videos again really kept poking at me. So I started that channel just to do whatever the hell I wanted, anything I wanted. And so far that has been gaming. And I'm loving it. I don't care how low the numbers are, and they are low. They are very low. It's growing even slower than my first channel did. And I'm struggling to care. And that's a good thing. I'm struggling to care because I am enjoying the hell out of it. And this podcast isn't huge, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. My music isn't huge at all. It's certainly grown, but it's not huge by any means. And I love it. And this is where I am 5 years after I first started. And that is fucking sane. And again, I'm not super wealthy. I don't have millions of adoring fans, but I'm doing what I like to do, and I'm happy. And that's why I always like to tell people, you don't need a lot to get started. I had an iPhone 4 and a 3DS. I was depressed out of my mind and 9 years old. I was anxious and depressed always. And I just loved video games. And I started. And now I'm here with 5 years of experience, and I've moved from gaming content to skits and acting. I started editing. I've gotten into music. I've gotten more into writing. I manage my own websites. I manage my Dark Discussion Instagram account. We have the podcast up. After all this time, and the thing is, I've never even said that my dream is to be a YouTuber or a rapper or a podcast host. That I don't believe that's where my actual career in life is headed. I don't believe my job in the future is destined to be YouTube or music or anything like that. But something that I really appreciate about what I've done is the experience I've gotten. Like, I've gotten a lot of experience, acting experience, editing, writing, music production, and distribution. I wouldn't know a single thing about that if I didn't start. And that's why I also just think that sometimes YouTubers and SoundCloud rappers get a bad rep because, again, I was spending a lot of time on YouTube when I was young, maybe too much, who knows. But the skills I have learned will help me for the rest of my life, and I don't doubt that for a second, because if I never started and I was alive, my work ethic would be total AIDS, and it still can be at times. Like, I hate school a lot, and I did back then as well. But like, my work ethic has gotten way, way stronger because of this. Because since I was passionate and loved what I was doing, I wanted to do the best I could. And that mindset is something I still have never had in anything else. I'm going to work to do the best I can. I've still never felt that in anything else. And that work ethic is, I think, the best you can have. Yeah, like I still work with and the thing is, I still work with what I have. Again, you think I haven't made thousands, millions off of YouTube. I still don't have a lot to work with, but I make what I can. Like, I have the lighting I use is this shitty lamp that I think most people probably have for like reading books or something. And I put it next to my desk and I adjust it to have better lighting for videos. I got this webcam off Amazon. It's not perfect, but with the proper lighting of this lamp, it looks good. This mic is very cheap. Very cheap. It works though, and it's better than hearing the clicking of the webcam. I just literally work with what I have. And that's why I tell people, if you are passionate about something, if you want to put your creative energy and artistic energy into something, just do it. Because you can. Like, you can. The numbers won't immediately go up to quadruple digits. They'll probably not be double digits for a little while. But if you're enjoying yourself, is that not what matters the most in things like this? Like, I was just enjoying doing YouTube videos. I didn't care about the numbers, and I don't. I definitely think there was a time where I did care about the numbers, and I think that's stupid. I think it's stupid to care about something like that. If again, I never got massive, but the thing is, like, eventually, and I think what definitely made my 2018 hiatus a lot worse was thinking that I'm putting a lot of effort into something that isn't getting views. And the fact that I ever had that mindset bothers the hell out of me, because that means I was either not doing something I enjoyed and doing it for views, or I was doing something I enjoyed and expecting more in return. Like, no, I do this because I enjoy it. I do this because I love it. And that's all I need. And that's why I think worrying about the quality of your work isn't a bad thing to have, but it's not top priority. Like, I used to have 360p videos of just playing video games, and it wasn't even like proper screen recording, but I loved it. I loved it. Like, if you care about this so much that you want to invest money into it, go for it. I would never say don't do that. I've definitely had to do that. I bought these headphones when I started making music because I wanted something better for when I was working on it. And I plan to get new ones as well. I had no reason to get this webcam. I had no reason to get this mic, but I did enjoy it. So I did invest a little bit of money into it. But when you first start, you probably won't have any of that. And that's okay. I know as hell I didn't. I sure as hell did not. In fact, the one thing I lucked out on was I started before iPhones got thin. That's all I lucked out on. The iPhone 4 was thick enough to be balanced on a tripod. Lucky me. And here I like, again, I'm not the best at what I do, nor am I super successful. But the quality has certainly gone up, first of all, and I'm loving it. And I'm working hard on it. Like, I was talking to my cousin earlier, and I was telling him how I literally I've gotten all the free time in the world because of quarantine, and now I'm busier than I've literally ever been. And I'm happy with that. I was literally telling him, like, I had no reason to do what I'm doing now, but I wanted to. I started organizing this podcast. I started doing 5 to 7 videos a week on my gaming channel. I had to put together the release of this album, and I'm still working on more music. I have so much pre-recorded music that are just on my hard drive. And I'm still doing frequent articles. I'm still running the album review Instagram page. And the thing is, it's just because I like doing all this stuff. Not only are my like YouTube things not massive, you think my Instagram page that I actually need to like properly organize gets me anything in return? Obviously it doesn't. But like, I like to put together some of my opinions on certain media projects, and then, put together the post in a nice and original way. It's a very small thing, and I've enjoyed it. The Dark Discussion Instagram page is for album reviews. I sit down here, I write down my opinions on each album. I spend a lot of time listening to one album, and I write down my notes, and then I put it together into an Instagram post. That takes literally nothing, and I love it. And then this podcast, I wasn't sure how live streaming even really worked on YouTube, because the only time I'd ever done it was with a laptop in shitty quality. But, all I had to do was use webcam, mic, and I set up this little light, and I love it. Like, I realize I'm going on, but, I just try to get people to understand that I started with nothing, and I'm still doing it with not a lot, but you don't need a lot. If you go into music or YouTube or Instagram for whatever reason, for the purpose of getting money or clout, because that is something that gives you a big hard boner, then please get the fuck out of here. Because you know what's ruined YouTube in a lot of ways is greed. It's all over the place now. And like when I first started, it was 2015. And and that's just when I first started. I've watched YouTube for ages, and people get on here for money or for fame, and sometimes they get it, but a lot of the time you aren't going to get it. Like, people don't seem to understand what it takes to be a YouTuber. People just see that there are like multiple thousands of people that make a living on YouTube, but there are millions of people trying to do the same. A small fragment of the people succeed. And if you are going onto this platform to like make millions off the platform, then you're doing it wrong. I started because I enjoyed, and most people do. And that's how you need to start. Like, that's why I don't tell people, if you want to do something and enjoy it, start a YouTube channel. I would never say that. If you have a passion, if you have an artistic or creative passion, then do it in a way you love to do it. If that leads you to YouTube, go for it. But in many times it won't. Like, some people like drawing and comics and writing. You don't go to YouTube for that, obviously. Like, I just hate seeing, and like the amount of people on SoundCloud that just put together these very generic songs because they think for some fucking reason that they're going to be the next big hit, because of people like Lil Pump and 6ix9ine, and even people like Travis Scott and Lil Uzi Vert. But like, there are so many people on SoundCloud, buddy. There are so many people. And if you are getting into this because you want the money, you want the views, fuck off. Please. Like, I hate that. I hate that mentality, because it just takes away so much of your credibility. So much. It just does. I mean, you can disagree with me on that, but there's no way in hell you'd ever change my mind. I came to this platform because I just wanted to do something that gave me some fulfillment, and I found it, and that meant a lot to me. And that happens with a lot of people. And some people obviously weren't in the exact position I was in. They were just trying to enjoy themselves, and they found that. People come on here for money, and that's just rage-inducing to me. Because, one, I bet you 99.9% you're not going to get it. Two, you don't deserve it. Because the original slogan of YouTube was broadcast yourself. And I hate that it's not that anymore. If you're, it was YouTube. Broadcast yourself. YouTube is supposed to be a platform of art. That's what I think. And when that's taken away, I feel a certain way about it. That's for sure. And I feel that way about multiple things. But YouTube is just like, I guess it's just because I like to think of YouTube as what it originally was. Broadcast yourself. And YouTube is obviously at a point where it's massive with like over 1 billion users. And, with that many people, trends come in and out, companies come in and out, scumbags come in and out. And I just still like to think of YouTube of what it originally was, for people to broadcast themselves, because that's what makes it, still is that, but at the same time it's not. That's what makes YouTube so beautiful to me, is that anybody can do it. But that's not always a good thing. But yeah, enough with that rant, I guess. Anyway, I guess my apologies for that. But yeah, I guess I've sort of covered my 5 years of YouTube pretty decently in this. I don't know. I don't want to go yet because, again, 5 years is a long time. And I know something is going to pop into my head of like something that should definitely be established. Something I talked about in my 2019 recap video on my channel was how people I've been able to meet through what I do. And that is also something that is special to me because, like, no, I'm not necessarily someone that loves to meet people a lot. I'm definitely not someone that's super social ever by any means. But the fact that I've been able to talk to and even become friends with some really dope people because of what I do. And also like there's like a lot of people I've just discovered through my love of this. Like if I never started making music, I would have never been as interested in the actual craft of it as I am. And there's a lot of YouTubers and rappers that I just really wouldn't have found because I wouldn't have cared enough to search for any of it. But yeah, through what I do, I've met YouTubers, rappers, singers, producers, and I just think that's a really cool thing. And I also on my the blog site, I made an article called 5 Amazing Producers. And I think 3 or 4 out of the 5 ended up commenting on my post of it, commenting on my Instagram post promoting it. And yeah, it's just, and the fact that, I'm a small creator that did something about other small creators and that made some of them happy to see. And that also, I think, is something special. I remember Caps Control, who's a producer on YouTube. I mentioned them in the article, and they commented on my post saying that it made their day. Whether or not that's an exaggeration or not, obviously, but it's like the fact that I can, the fact that I did something like that, that means something to me. And I've worked with quite a few people, mainly friends, of course, but because I make hip hop music, I've had to use a lot of instrumentals from online, and again, I'm a small creator, but the fact that there are times where I can do something very special is cool. Like JJ is a music producer, and he's not super famous and selling beats to all sorts of artists. So the fact that I was able to do a collaborative project with him that went to all streaming platforms, I think that's pretty sick. The fact that I did that, the fact that I was able to do that. Because yeah, when I found him, he had around the same amount of followers on SoundCloud as I did. I don't know how many he's at now, but he was at like 30. And yeah, I listened to some of his beats, liked it, messaged him to use a beat, and then I ended up doing a whole EP. And I was able to put his name on something that went to everywhere. And I think that's really cool. And my cousin, as much as we haven't done a lot of things recently, over time we've done a lot of things together, and I think that's really cool. Obviously, I met Yo Budman through the Stolen series. That's the first thing you saw by me. You saw the finale of it, I believe. And yeah, we ended up doing a video together playing Roblox because we're swag. And yeah, it's been 3 years, and we have made many videos together and talk often. Yeah, and I've talked to other producers before because I was just to make sure I had them up say, hey, yo, can I use this instrumental? And there's like a couple of them that I had like a brief conversation with, and it was like, it's just something cool to me. Like, it's just cool that I've been able to talk to, meet, and even become friends with some great people because of what I do. Yeah, I'm very grateful to say that because, again, there's a lot of really cool people that I know that I wouldn't have met if I never started. And again, I can't lie. I don't know if I would be alive if I didn't start because I was young and mentally ill as all hell. So who knows where I would have been. The thing is, again, even though I'm not in a place of millions of subscribers with millions of dollars around me, I have so much to be thankful for. Just the fact that a single human being has watched a video of mine, streamed a song of mine, felt the need to comment or like or subscribe, contacted me at any point is amazing because that is a real person. And I just did this because I loved it. So the fact that I have been able to multiple times entertain or help someone through doing something that I love, it's just, I'm very grateful for the position I'm in today because I've never been happier than I am today. Obviously, quarantine ain't great. Quarantine has not been the best thing, but I'm just in a place where I've grown a lot, and I'm very grateful, and I'm very happy to be in the place I am today. That's there's not much more to say than that. And something I said in the first podcast was, even if I were to somehow ever get to a point where I am a big creator, or if I ever even move off the platform and I start doing something else, if I'm ever in a position where I'm disconnected from what I'm doing right now and what I did in the past, I will never be fully disconnected from it, and I will never forget the last 5 years. I will never forget everything that went into where I am today. I am stronger, healthier, happier than I've ever been. And I owe a lot of that to what I've done. It's special. It's special to me that this is where I am. And again, this is just why it's been hard to ever be fully open about the beginning of my YouTube journey, my music journey, is because they all came from something very personal, and they all are very personal things to me. Like I was talking about earlier, like how when I got my first hate comments, my first dislikes, it hit a lot harder than it would now. Because now it's sort of just like, I could not care less. But there was a point where it hit really hard because it was so personal to me. It was so important to me. And not once again, it still is, but it was like the saving grace of my life. And yeah, it's been hard to be fully open because it's honestly been until the last not that long until I've been in the position I am now. I was just too insecure to really talk about it. I always, whenever we hit a milestone of views or subscribers, I would do a video about it. But I was never fully able to say, like, thank you for sticking with me. And I started in a really rough place and I'm getting better. Because, obviously I was getting better. I wasn't great. I was just getting better for a long time. And there were definitely slopes. There were times where I got worse and then started getting better, and then got worse and it started getting better. But like, again, now I'm in a position where I'm feeling good and I want to help people. I try to reach out to people often, and I was actually going to do volunteer work before this happened, and I would love to go into volunteer work once this pandemic is less serious. Yeah, there's not a lot more to say, but I did a video called 5 years on this channel, and at the end I did a thank you. But I just thank you to anybody that has supported me to any extent over the last 5 years. Like, it's just insane that I am here today 5 years after I started. Like, that's still hardly clocking into my head that it has been 5 years since I first uploaded my first video. And I will never forget how much it meant to me at the time and how special it was when like people started watching. And like when I got my first email from someone who watched my videos, or when I got my first comment from somebody that I didn't know, or like when the likes started getting higher and when subscribers started coming in, I'm just never going to forget those feelings. And yeah, I'm just thankful. I'm very grateful to anybody that has supported me and helped me to any extent. Yeah. And what I said in my 5 years video at the end wasn't a lie. I said, I will never quit. And I will never fully quit. Like, if there's ever a point where I depart from YouTube and start doing something else, I'm still going to be doing that something else, and I'm still going to be me. Like, I'm never going to, whether it's a hobby or a job, whether it's a full career or just frequent uploads on who knows what site, who knows what platform, I'm never going to quit doing what I love. I'm never going to quit doing what I love. And any audience I ever have now, or have ever had, I am grateful for. And yeah, I will never, ever quit doing what I love to do, because I owe that to myself and anyone that supported me. Like, for me, genuinely, the scariest thought is, what if I never started doing YouTube? Like, it was at a point where it was that, like, scary. Like, I was in a state of mind where I literally could not see a bright side of things. And the scariest thing ever to me is, what if I didn't start putting my heart out like I did? it was so small, it was so simplistic, it was so rushed, but it holds such a strong place in my life, and that will never change. Like most people's childhoods and teenage years are either unimportant or absolutely hilarious. Like most people, their teenage years were just hilariously stupid and they moved past it. But like, I'm only 14, but like, how can I ever forget what I've done? How much I was able to help myself, how much I was able to help other people whilst helping myself. How can I ever forget what I've done up to this point? I won't. I won't. And certainly people my age don't have the best reputation publicly. And I fully understand that. And I totally get it because, you know, me being my age, know a lot of people my age. And yeah, it's no surprise to me that, you know, Gen Zers and, you know, teenagers have the rep that they do. But honestly, I do fully get that because I was quite the wreck for a while. But I've definitely matured having to do everything I've had to do, and I've grown up a lot. And I can tell you, you can quote me on this in 10, 15, 20 years if you want to. I'm not going to forget the last 5 years. I'm not. Like, I'm not going to forget how important my first upload was, how important my first EP was, how important the creation of Stolen Studios was, how important this last 5 years have been. Like, I can't, like, talking about the last 5 years, I can't at all say I had a perfect last 5 years. That's not at all what I could even talk about, because there was so many hellish moments over the last 5 years. There were a lot of amazing moments, but there were so many hellish moments over the last 5 years. But the last 5 years have put me where I am today. And that's so much more than I ever thought I would get out of this. Because I was just doing it for fun. And I've done so many things, learned so many skills, and improved so much of my work over time. It's amazing. And like, I only have, and like on Instagram, for example, I have less than 200 followers, but yet I thank people all the goddamn time on there because I feel like I have to, because the small fraction of people that will see the story about my channel or whatever the topic may be, I feel the need to thank them because, you know, I was obviously doing something I loved to do, and that helped me a lot. But the fact that people started watching means so much. The fact that people tuned in to my stupid ass doing something probably really stupid that just means the world. The fact that my stupid skits, my stupid series, my stupid gaming videos, my stupid sense of humor that was portrayed in every single piece of content I ever posted. The fact that people tuned into those, man. Like, I need to thank people for that. Like, there are certain names I can name, of course, but I just have to simply say thank you to anybody that has ever supported me, because any piece of support has meant a lot in the grand scheme of my life. Like, I've literally been on this planet for 14 years, and I could write a fucking novel of just the journey I've gone through, and the fact that I can sit here and say I'm happy doing what I love to do is more than I've ever asked for, and just all I could ask for. For 5 years, I guess I should say 4, but for years upon years, I never thought I would be where I am today. Because I probably thought I would have been dead, or regardless, not in a much better place I was. But like, I'm just grateful. And I know I'm rambling, and I tend to do that. And I certainly have done that the last 5 years, but again, people sat through it. But, you know, today I'm feeling a lot of emotions. May 26th, 2016, 17, 18, 19, and now 20 have all like been emotional days because it's like blank amount of years since I started doing this shit. And it's just, it means everything. And like, I'm not even on the original channel anymore. I don't even use it. But it was still the start of everything. I wouldn't have this channel or any channel for that matter without that first one. Like, it still means everything. It is everything to me. Big thank you to anybody who has ever supported me. Seriously. And I have a lot of ideas for the future. I have a lot of things to come in the future. I have YouTube, music, and even things besides that I want to do. Like, so many fucking ideas, so many projects that I'm working on right now and that I'm going to start working on. So many things. And happy I haven't run out of ideas after 5 years. Because I still have so many. Ain't it fucking crazy that Bob is older than my fucking career? I made him before I started YouTube. And what's funny is he hasn't even been like a part of any of my channels until now, where I started putting him in the thumbnails of the podcast and leaving him in the background. He has never been a part till now. And he's like been around for 6 years. He's been around the whole fucking time. Oh, man. There's just so many things I could talk about, but I can't go into detail of everything right now. But again, I'm going to start doing more, and you will learn more and more about me the last 5 years, the last 14 years through that. But yeah, I'm gonna let this go here because I know I should. Again, big thank you. 5 years is insane, and thank you to anybody that has been around for any period of time. Like, any period of time. Thank you. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I think Bob does too. He's actually frowning right now, which I don't appreciate, but I'm sure he appreciates it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this. Next episode, I will probably have a guest on, because I have a few guests that I have episodes that are going to be on episodes in the future. So next episode will surely be with a guest. And check out the links in the description for album Innocent Until Proven Guilty is out. Music video on Dark Isaac is out. The 5 years video is out on this channel. And you can also check out the Dark Discussion website or Instagram or anything else that I've done, because once again, there has been 5 fucking years of it. So yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'm going to go now because I've been on for an hour and 10 minutes. I was worried that I would not have a lot of material. Stupid me for thinking I wouldn't be able to ramble on my own. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next stream. Or if you want to, once again, if you want to tune into another video, I'll see you guys there. Peace out. And thank you guys for all the support. Goodbye.